on the Kirby here. A bit of an interesting matchup, isn't it, Revan?
It's a very interesting matchup. You're going to see the top platform come into play a lot here. Now, Kirby doesn't have to go to top platform in this matchup, but it's so much easier if you do. It's a lot more technically like sound and everything.
I think that the big thing that I'm seeing so far is how important it is kind of to have that height advantage when you're in the air, right?
For sure, yeah. The height is really what makes the difference. These two characters, they're very slow, both horizontally and vertically. They can't gain height too quick. They can't move sideways in the air too quick. Ooh. So all of their speed's going to come from that down air.
CTG trying to mix up his tech options, but NaCl with great patience is able to find the equalizer. And again, that joust, that jockey for that top platform, it's looking like CTG, he was maybe trying to bait NaCl into an early option to try and punish that top platform placement that you mentioned was so critical previously. Now NaCl on the offensive.
Yeah, you're seeing CTG, he tried a couple of pokes with up air to top platform. I think that's really interesting, because even though Kirby can jump away, if Puff lands like just one up air, like that top platform's hers, it immediately knocks Kirby off of that spot. So it's sort of a high risk reward sort of situation.
Ooh, this time NaCl just going straight for that down air. And look at him, he's just really valuing the stage positioning so far. He likes ensuring that CTG is constantly trapped in these corners and preventing the options, but this is something that Dylan does so well. When we talk about CTG and something top players respect him for, it's his ability to thread the needle so well and make such marvelous recoveries off of such limited space.
Yeah, recovery is a really big deal in this matchup. Both of these characters are super floaty. Recovering is, you should be able to recover every time if you mix up the recoveries, but if you don't, you'll just be dying way more often than you should. Both of these players seem to be recovering pretty okay right now, though we've seen it a lot more from CTG so far this game.
Ooh, again, bad spot for CTG, and this is a really dicey percentage. If you're playing as Kirby right now, you got to be so wary. Even that up tilt near that top platform could be all he needs. Goes with a back throw instead, and that's going to take the stock. So now CTG in a one-stock position, but keep in mind that whenever we see this on a more weekly basis, CTG is one of those players who has that innate clutch factor. He's brought it back so many times, but NaCl has just such great patience there. An excellent call out on the tech away, and I think that this may be all she wrote, Revan.
Yeah, we see NaCl just taking those couple last stocks really, really cleanly. He controlled the top platform, which is what you got to do in that matchup, and he used that top platform in the best way he could, completely denied CTG access. And so that's what happens in that matchup if you can execute it really nicely like that.
Yeah, and very nicely executed indeed. I mean, from CTG, we did see the initial stock. He found that great rest to kick things off. But I think that NaCl just with a really thorough head, even when he was on offense, just taking the extra moment, that amount of time to just pause and wait out and react consistently to whatever defensive options CTG would do is what allowed him to walk away with those offensive wins, especially in the mid and late game.
Yeah, at the moment, we're actually seeing NaCl commit to a lot of options when CTG's on the base. He's very eager to like fast fall aerial and stuff like that. We can expect to maybe see CTG take advantage of that. Because NaCl's giving up top platform maybe a little bit easier than he should here.
You're seeing CTG just trying to utilize the teleport there, maybe just a movement mix-up of sorts. Maybe a rest here? Yes! Perfect execution again. Echoing back to this first game, but let's keep in mind that this first game did not go well for CTG after this initial stock. But this could be where things turn around. Following the DI, getting another rest. CTG up 2, clean.
Perfect from CTG. You see, he's sort of changed his approach from the first matchup. He noted that he can't really control the top platform, and so he's sort of been baiting NaCl down, trying to land those pivot grabs into some sort of rest setup. That's how the last 2 stocks went. Let's see if he can keep it up.
It's like little kids fighting over a toy, right? The minute that one kid loses interest, they're like, I found something newer and shinier. You completely vanquish it.
CTG controlling top platform again really well, and that allows him to land that scary down air.
Yeah. And not even needing the rest there. A neutral air, great turnaround so far from CTG. He's yet to lose a stock here.
Yeah, the last game was a 3 stock for NaCl, right?
Yeah, it was. Now the percentage could be a factor here, especially if you consider the fact that that forward throw could be enough to take out CTG from that top platform. Back air, not quite enough yet. NaCl trying to get one on the board. Ooh!
Really good recovery there from CTG. Really good spacing from NaCl, but CTG was just able to wait him out there and squeeze back on that platform.
Top platform throw coming through. NaCl getting one onto the board here. Now, he doesn't have as explosive of a way to close out the stocks the way that Jigglypuff does, not necessarily having access to that rest, but NaCl's combo game, if he just plays things patient and smart as he did in that first game, he could very well make the reverse.
Yeah, we see, it looks like CTG might be losing a bit of his patience right now. He's being a little bit more aggressive than he has been. Situations like that happen more often. If he wants to close out this stock, you can't underestimate Kirby. He's going to have to take a step back, breathe, and then pour that.
Yeah, just find the rest. And it seemed like something that you alluded to early on was such a factor in that particular game. That top platform control, we saw that whenever CTG would have that height advantage of sorts, he'd be able to consistently drop down, follow NaCl's movement, get the down airs, and set up for a rest combo.
CTG's really good at landing those rests, really good at squeezing in those sneaky down airs. Though it looks like he might be pushed off top platform here.
NaCl committing a bit more towards these down airs. Missing with the up air, a rare mistake actually from CTG, who's usually so airtight with his rest combos.
Oh, a scary situation. Whenever these two characters are on the ground, you never know what's going to happen. A quick down tilt from Kirby at this percent, and Puff is basically done. And the same thing goes the other way. Puff can land a grab, back throw, and then Kirby can just be finished.
Don't know if that dash attack was an input error or intentional. Either way, cute. Ends up working out a bit. NaCl getting that platform control again.
Dash attack has an interesting role in this sort of matchup when you're grounded. If you know that your opponent is too scared to jump, the dash attack sort of sweeps along the ground. And since Kirby's so slow, and similarly Puff is so slow, both of these characters' dash attacks have a place in the grounded matchup.
Make sure you have the right tools for the job at hand, and I think that throw was the perfect tool there, especially aided by the platform. We'll be able to even up this game at 3 stocks apiece now. CTG did get the initial exchange, but NaCl is walking away with all of the money right now.
Yeah, we see CTG go for another one of those risky up airs to poke at top platform. He seems to not be throwing out many aerials in the air. He's trying to really just space them out, hope that NaCl gets afraid and runs back. You see him not throwing out too many nairs. Nice rest.
You know, there's a chance maybe he's trying to play more of a patient game, maybe a more reactionary style of game. Because I noticed that NaCl, he's just committing so frequently to these down airs, and CTG, if he can maybe manipulate his drift a bit, he could potentially punish NaCl for committing so hard with the aerial.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. If ever you see like a Kirby is overcommitting to aggression, that's one of... because Kirby's so slow, one of his biggest flaws is that his aggression is very delicate. So if you can just wait it out, be that little bit extra patient, you'll be able to take him out pretty clean.
Again, the dance. CTG. Ooh, tried to poke it. It looked like he was trying to go for the nair there.
Yeah, we saw some like very aggressive jumps from CTG there. He was jumping straight into the top platform instead of up and over as is usually done.
Tried again just to mix up the recovery with the additional pound, but this is something that harks back to the first game. NaCl, incredibly patient. He's not overeager when it comes to cleaning his plate here. That's been paying off in spades thus far. Last stock now from CTG in a horrible position. Smart on the recovery. The bit of delay prevented him from getting hit by the down air from NaCl, but NaCl still in such a great spot. CTG finding a critical down air. Won't be able to confirm with the rest, but does get the back throw here.
If CTG can turn this stock around, that's a very big deal.
Oh, great DI coming through from CTG. NaCl thinking that he could drag CTG down, and instead will be paying the ultimate price. Nair, though, will go ahead and give NaCl set advantage here.
That was a good chase on the invincibility by NaCl there. Overall, really good game from NaCl. He was doing a good job controlling top platform. Maybe a little bit over-eager with the down airs, and we saw CTG catch him for that a couple of times. But overall, he was nicely patient. He did what he had to do in the matchup, and it really served him well there.
Yeah. And we saw the bit of friendly banter as well. Even though these two players are playing for quite a bit on the line right now, I think in their minds at the same time, it's just another good game with another good friend of yours.
So we see NaCl. Oh, CTG doing a really good job pushing NaCl off that top platform, but again, NaCl just with that patience, he just waited long enough, almost gave him the top platform, and just snapped on a small mistake by CTG.
We're seeing CTG just with the drift back. NaCl missing with the down air previously. Will CTG now be able to find some punishes? Switch from defense to offense. This is a good start, and that's a good rest.
Great rest from CTG. Though it doesn't quite kill, it gives him complete stage control.
And so tricky with the movement. I love the usage of that teleport. Just to completely surprise NaCl there, but there's a down air. So smart. I'm surprised he wasn't able to confirm that KO.
Yeah, NaCl almost had to turn around. That would have been a big deal because now he's down in percent and he has height disadvantage. Though he has retaken top.
He surely will not be surviving another rest from this particular position. Ooh,
Great down tilt.
Very, very smart, especially after those jabs.
Yeah,
it's a pretty quick option, right?
Yeah, jab is one of Kirby's most underused options. You can convert into a down tilt, which in a matchup like this is really nice. You can also convert into a grab, which versus heavies also serves you like really well.
Nice. Good aerial coming through from CTG. He will take the first stock, but this, again, harkens back to the majority of this set where CTG will take the lead, but in many cases has troubles, Revan, actually holding on to the lead.
Since this matchup is so sort of patient, sometimes having the lead is a bit of a disadvantage because you get over-eager, you get a little bit impatient, and that can make that lead slip away before you even notice it.
Not even noticing it. Check out how early that throw killed from that top platform. I know that Puff is light, but what's that exact percentage that it actually kills on?
I think it's somewhere like mid-60s. 84 from top platform. That was that kill.
Great coming through from CTG to close out the stock and again just maintain that advantage. As you touched on before, Revan, the over-eagerness that comes from being ahead, it nearly proved to be CTG's downfall in the one game that he did take. Now on his tournament game, has to make sure that he doesn't fall prey to that over-eagerness yet again.
He's doing a pretty good job of it right now, holding that top platform, landing a bunch of really solid down airs. Still opting to not go for that nair for the aerial spacing.
Back throw. NaCl in control, trying to figure out exactly how CTG's approach is. Great call out with the forward air there.
Perfect.
Because he's been going for the down airs so often, and we've seen CTG, he's actually spacing around that by retreating slightly, and NaCl caught onto that, decided to go for a forward option instead, and the extra coverage allowed him to go ahead and take the stock.
Yeah, forward air is a really strong tool in this matchup. Your nair, it's a nice forward-hitting hitbox, but it kind of lingers out there and doesn't lead into anything. The forward air, however, oftentimes you'll get that set knockback on it after you hit, and so you'll be able to nicely combo Puff.
Oh, I thought that CTG wouldn't let NaCl get back from the ledge there. Just paying a lot of respect, maybe too patient perhaps. A lot of resources being utilized there, trying to confirm the edge guard. But again, back to that center area we go. NaCl on the chase down right now. And he's really putting CTG on the back foot here. Not even needing to go for the down air there. That's going to be all she wrote. And now CTG one stock away from being eliminated from this tournament.
Yeah, this is a really hard spot to be in. But remember, NaCl can still lose this. He has to be very careful about not becoming too impatient. You're against Puff. Puff has really quick 0 to deaths on you. If CTG lands 1-2 up airs, that's the stock, and then all he needs is one more rest to take this game and save himself from elimination.
That's true. It's one of those moments where you can taste victory, but you're not quite out of the woods yet. As NaCl tries to hold on. Jabs, interesting format to edge guard. Wow.
Such a great option. Puff's jabs have such a low knockback that Kirby has to go all the way back down, dip really low to go for that sweet spot again, and Puff has really good ways to cover that option. Again, you saw the down smash from CTG. Really, really solid way to cover it.
Oh. Again, CTG, great rest combo, and he makes the comeback happen.
Great from CTG. He caught a couple of small slip-ups from NaCl there. NaCl, again, becoming a little bit impatient with his lead. He really wanted to close out this game, close out this set, and that came back to bite him in the end.
Ooh, and I know, I think we've both sat in the chair when that's happened, when you've had the victory just pulled from underneath you and you still have another game left. That tilt factor, though it doesn't seem like it's affecting NaCl yet, he just seems fired up right now. CTG taking on 54% quite quickly.
We see, NaCl's going in way more than he had been earlier in the set. It'll help him with this stock, but I'm still a little bit worried for the rest of this set. He's gonna have to, because stuff like that can happen, right? You can get big reward off of these aggressive options, but in the long run, it's very risky against Puff to go for that too often.
Very much so. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised he didn't just commit to an up tilt earlier on that platform. Would that have been enough to possibly kill Puff?
It could have been. A lot of Kirbys, when they sort of learn this game and as you get better, you start neglecting up tilt at higher percents, just because in most matchups, it's a bad option. But Puff dies so early that it sometimes works out.
Well, that definitely works out. That top platform throw, we've seen it time and time again in this set.
That's a very powerful tool in this matchup. It's one of your best kill options. If Puff lands unsafely on top platform, great ton. You can always just go for that grab.
NaCl, ooh, gets caught in the vortex there. Those up airs connecting so beautifully in succession, allowing CTG to connect with the rest.
CTG has the lead here. As Kirby, you never want to face Puff with the lead.
Yeah, it just makes, I think, rest that much less risky, I think, for the Puff. And so, when you have the fact that rest not being off of the table is such a factor, I think it makes it so that it's even more difficult to come back.
For sure, yeah. This is not an easy matchup for Kirby if Puff's really landing those rests and is able to squeeze on top platform so nicely like that.
But this is when things change. It's Kirby's got a rest of sorts. It just takes a little bit more percent. You got to commit to a throw instead.
Yeah, that's such a good option in this matchup. A couple of down airs, tech chase at the base, and then if they tech below top platform, just go for that grab if they're above 60. It'll probably kill.
Just rock in a hard place position. Incredibly tight game between the two. These two friends, this rivalry that they've developed between the two.
Just squeezing out a couple of times.
So close.
NaCl's going really deep on this top platform, but he just waited long enough that time.
Controller. Getting stage control, trying to follow CTG. The trade. Yeah, that trade's definitely going to benefit him. Oh, what a recovery from CTG! I cannot believe he made it on stage.
Incredible there. Like, he had the one jump. He only had one jump, but he was still able to use it to turn that situation around.
Yeah, that was the Aladdin recovery. Just one jump ahead of the lawman. Neutral air, though, gonna be taking out the stock, and now NaCl, again, one stock away from eliminating CTG.
He's gonna have to take it a lot slower than he did last time.
Very much so. Look at CTG, now he's being a bit more aggressive. Counter pokes coming through from NaCl. Definitely starting to pay off. Knowing that all the trades will be benefiting, but that is the last thing that NaCl wanted. The rest coming through, and again, Brevin, last stock game number 5 between CTG and NaCl.
That was great for CTG because it was also a star KO, so he wasn't worried about resting there because he knew it would knock him off the top and he'd have time to recover. At the moment, NaCl has that top platform, but CTG's being very, very careful around it. He wants a rest.
Oh, look at him actually challenging the air, knowing that NaCl was going to be a bit more patient, a bit more hesitant with the aerials based on how the rest of the set was playing out. And that's allowing CTG now to have that height advantage that we've been touching on all set long.
Really strong situation for CTG here.
Oh, but he misses. Forward smash coming through. We'll be tacking on damage. Won't be able to take the stock quite yet. But we're getting closer and closer to that critical throw percentage. And now CTG is certainly there. Cannot afford to get hit by the grab. Not on the top platform, so CTG will be having another chance here.
I'm pretty sure that was only like a few percents away from killing both of those hits there.
CTG, can he possibly hang on? Certainly he cannot take another hit here. But the same can be said for NaCl. CTG airtight on his conversions all set long. Down to the wire, the final minutes of this game. And it all comes down to this.
CTG just squeezing onto that top platform. He has this down air now.
Oh! Oh! And that's it!
CTG takes it! Amazing from CTG. Just that quick turnaround. You saw at the end there, he had those few moments where he didn't have top platform, but he was patient, slow about it. He knew he couldn't snap, so he just waited until his opportunity was there. He used it not to hit him, but to take top platform. And then from there, he really, really nicely converted into that rest.
That back and forth was absurd. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch, Revin.